Yo, hello and welcome. My name's Daniel Bailey, Associate Director at the Bush Theatre. This is hashtag 10-minute masterclasses. And today we're about to get into characters. Because why not? Great characters make great plays. And of course, the story, there are many different facets to great stories, but great characters are who we get invested in, who we go on an emotional journey with, and who drive the plot. So some of my favorite characters are Mama from A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Some of her titled pieces. Johnny from Jez Butterworth's Jerusalem. If you don't know, get to know. Sophia Adams from Errol John's A Moon in a Rainbow Shawl, but to name a few. But these seminal personalities, took us on these emotional, gripping journeys. They were complex, they were full, and had real purpose. So, how do we create one? Whether you've got a character already or whether you're just starting out, this should be a fun, accessible way for you to explore your characters or create one. Would you like that? Would you write back? You know, a nightcap. No, you like that. Anyway, so that obviously makes sense. 50 Cent, 21 questions plus 4, 25 questions. I do a version of 25 questions because I like to I like to kind of present another 25 questions to my actors when it gets to rehearsals. So I will do 25 questions first for the character, and then hopefully once the play gets to rehearsals, I'll do another 25 questions. So actors also influence and inform who this character is. So I'm going to show you my 25 questions, or my 50 questions bootleg version style. And you can take from this what you need to take from it. It is roughly questions about your character's upbringing, so you just have a bit of a foundation, but it can be as meaningful or as deep as you want them to be, or as superficial and fun as you want them to be. There might be a funny story that you really want to find within your character or discover in your character. So have a look. I am not going to read out all 25 because that is long, so I'm going to show you. Pause your video if you need to look over my scruffy handwriting again. Please forgive all the little scrubs out, but yo, this is life, innit? It's real life. So have a look. Shocking, I can't even hold the thing properly. So as you can see, I've done 26 questions. I've just done an extra one just because I was feeling a little fruity. What? Say something. I can do what I like. It's my video. So I've got a 26 question, which is what secrets do they hold? So my first question is, how old is the character? As I said, I won't go through all 25, but just so you get a gist of what I'm doing. What is the character's full name? So, full name, middle name, surname. Where does their name come from? Who gave them this? I didn't even put a question mark on that, but as I said, it's live, innit? You understand. This is 21 questions plus 5. So once you've done your 25 questions, or 26 questions in my case, you kind of move on. You've got your foundation. You've got a bit more clarity on who your character is, where they come from, what they do for a living, how they think and feel. Characteristics help us cement that idea of who they are, and how they react in any given scenario. So they have a bit of a moral compass. Here's an example Here's one I've done earlier. Here's an example of I've split this up into two things. I've split it up into desirable characteristics and undesirable characteristics. And usually I will kind of see them as separate people at first. So I split my character into two. I'll be like character A, character B. A, I give them all the undesirable characteristics, and B, I give them the desirable characteristics. I've said that word so many times now. If you If you think I'm going too fast, then just take your time, pause the video, have a look again, go back, check and see if my do-rag's on properly. So as you can see, I've put a star by unpredictable because it can be a desirable trait and it can also be an undesirable trait. So it's all subjective. You can choose your characteristics for yourself. The second part of exercise 2 is for me to amalgamate a character again. So I put A and B back together again and I make C. See what I did there? C for characteristics. C for C for CC. I put all of those characters together and I make my protagonist C. So between the characteristics that you have and the questions that you've got, it's good for you to kind of go back over them, see which ones contradicts which. Sometimes contradiction is great because that's what creates complex characters. You know, we are walking contradictions, but it'll be good to go over them just to make sure that they're not too opposing, otherwise it's not believable and they're not plausible. But of course there are things that work. So I'm just going to use an example. Your character can be absolutely loyal but also be dishonest, or very ambitious, which this work hand in hand, ambitious but also quite materialistic. So some of these things work for each other, some of them don't. But in any given scenario, your character will be able to kind of think with autonomy because you kind of, you've given them the characteristics and you've answered the question. So timelines are really important for us. So we can chart the journey of our character from the start right to the end. Sometimes it's the end of the play, sometimes it's the end of their life. You can decide what's more important for you, but it's also important to collaborate with your director and your actors to kind of fill in a bit of that timeline. So the timeline will usually have key events in their lives. So when they were born, perhaps, where they lived in the first 10 years of their life or whatever, where they ended up by the time they got to 20, events that might have been traumatic or had a lasting effect on them. So it might be the day that someone's grandpa passed away, or it might be the day that they got accepted into private school, or whatever it is, but something that's important to that character and also relevant to the story. Now, doing a timeline is fun, but also you kind of get lost in this black hole sometimes, pulling out key events that you think is relevant, but it's not actually really that relevant to your story. That's why I say leave some of it quite open, so when you get to collaborate with your actors and your director, they can fill that stuff in. So here's an example that I've done. So character C, which is what we left off from. It's a really simple timeline. 1990, my character's born in Kingston, Jamaica. In 1995, they moved to England, age 5. Watches the World Cup in 1998, aged 8. That was obviously a major event in their lives because what happens next? They joined QPR in 2001, part of the youth team, aged 11. In 2005, they joined Liverpool FC, age 15, which is another key event in their lives. And then in 2007, has their first team debut, age 17. Some of you will know who that character is. I've changed the dates a little bit, but some of you will know who that is. But I've also left this part quite blank because that's the stuff that you might fill in when you get into rehearsals or even before rehearsals, part of your actors pack. I won't explain what actors pack is, look it up. And this is where your character might start. So let's say your story starts really from here. So age 17, their first team debut. So we catch them at this point here. They're at the high of their career so far. And then we kind of fill in the rest once we know the story. So yeah, that's it.